and welcome. My name is Wanty1 and I read and give my 2 cents on books recommended on my social media feed. The content of this video reflects my opinion and therefore the rule agree to disagree is in place. It's just a book review, so please take it for what it is. The book I'm going to review today is The Quiet Tenant by, please help me not butcher her name, Clémence Michelon. Pardon my French. This novel was first published in 2023 by Alfred A. Knopf in the US. Clémence Michelon is a journalist. She was born and raised near Paris. She studied journalism in the UK and later received her master's degree in the US. She's been writing for The Independent since 2018 and The Quiet Tenant is her debut novel. Goodreads classifies the novel as psychological thriller and has an average of 3.9 based on circa 53,000 ratings. I will leave the link to the Goodreads page of The Quiet Tenant in the description down below so you can go and check it. I'm currently trying to get out of a reading slump, so when I got a recommendation for The Quiet Tenant in my social media feed, I told myself, why not? The plot sounded captivating, the cover had me curious. On the cover you can see a wooden hut illuminated by a dim light. The main colors are brown and green, and overall it has an aura of mystery around it. There's nobody, there's no person, there's no animal. On the cover just this hut and trees. I decided to buy a copy, and also I needed something different, especially after having had an unwilling go at dark romance. I'm looking at you, Credence. Plus, I'm a huge fan of true crime, so this sounded perfect. The plot revolves around Aidan Thomas, who is described as the perfect blonde, blue-eyed prince, charming family man. He's very caring, he's good looking, but he has a slight problem with women. He unalived 8 and abducted 1. This means he is a serial killer and a kidnapper. The story is narrated from the point of view of mainly 3 women. Emily, who is a bartender who falls in love and slowly becomes obsessed with him. I guess she's unaware of the fact that she's likely to become his next prey. The second woman is called the girl in the shed or the girl in the house, but I call her Rachel, which is not her real name. That's the name Aidan gave to her. As you'll find out at the end of the story if you're going to read it, Rachel is the woman Aidan abducted and decided to keep prisoner in his house, hence the title. So The Quiet Tenant is actually Rachel because she's called The Quiet Tenant because nobody knows she's there. And the third woman is Cecilia. Cecilia is Aidan's 13-year-old daughter. I honestly don't know what to say about Cecilia because I think she could have been a better developed character. She is Rachel's anchor, or at least Rachel thinks of her like that. On the back cover of the book you can read the blurb, which recites, Aidan Thomas is a family man and beloved figure in his small upstate New York town, but he has a dark secret. He is a kidnapper and a serial. Aidan has 8 women, and there's a 9th, Rachel, imprisoned in his backyard shed. When Aidan's wife dies, he and his daughter, Cecilia, are forced to move. Aidan must bring Rachel along, introducing her to Cecilia as a family friend who needs a place to stay. After 5 years of captivity, Aidan is betting on Rachel's being too brainwashed and fearful to attempt an escape. But Rachel is a fighter and survivor, and she recognizes that Cecilia might be the lifeline she has been waiting for. When Emily, a local restaurant owner, develops a crush on the handsome widower, she is drawn into Rachel and Cecilia's orbit, coming dangerously close to discovering Aidan's secret. Told through the perspectives of Rachel, Cecilia, and Emily, The Quiet Tenant explores the psychological impact of Aidan's crimes on the women in his life, and the bonds between those women that give them the strength to fight back. Both a searing thriller and an astute study of trauma, survival, and the dynamics of power, The Quiet Tenant is an electrifying debut by a major talent. So there's that. That's how the novel is described. And now I would like to focus on what I liked and what I didn't like about this novel. First, I'll start with the positive aspects. I enjoyed the different perspectives. I noticed it's a common device in novels I recently read. There are many novels which use the first person, but from different characters. As I already mentioned, the story is told from the point of view of multiple women. It allows the reader to get into the psychology of these people and see how they're experiencing emotions around the culprit, that is Aiden. As I said, I'm a fan of true crime and true crime videos, and unfortunately the focus is rarely on the victims. So this is a nice change for once, but I think there should be a middle ground. There should be space for the reasons why the criminal acted the way they did. And another thing I appreciate is the attempt to make the reader identify with one of the victims, that is Rachel, by breaking the fourth wall and using the second person, although this remains an attempt which, in my opinion, doesn't really bring to the desired outcome. And that's about it for the pros. I'm sorry. Let's just jump to the cons, because I feel they outnumber the positive aspects. There are actually many points in this novel which left me puzzled. For one thing, I would have appreciated to know the reasons which pushed Aiden Thomas to commit the crimes. The author wanted to focus more on the experience of the victims, which is a fair choice if you ask me. But I always question myself on the reason why a crime was perpetrated, so I wanted to know from both sides. Not necessarily in the same measure, but not even in the 0%, 100% capacity, if that makes sense. So I don't know, I feel something is missing. After all, we don't know much about Aiden. We only know that he's recently lost his wife to cancer, and he's raising his 13-year-old kid alone. He works on electric lines, and that's pretty much about it. He doesn't have a nice relationship with his parents-in-law. We don't know much else other than that. We only have speculations on his past. No family background, no childhood background, no nothing. The only information we get about his childhood background is from Cecilia, and that's only her hypothesis, so it's not presented as fact. Since Aiden is the center of the story because he is the cause of the distress and trauma in these people, he is too much of an important character to overlook his history, so I'd have appreciated to know more about his upbringing. From Cecilia's chapters, which are 5 in total, we have the chance to get more insight into him. For example, Cecilia assumes that because of how he behaves around people, her father must have had a terrible childhood. What we get is the picture of an apprehensive and controlling parent, although one is out to ask whether he's worried about his daughter in general or whether he's more interested in keeping his secret a secret from the outside world. Rachel hints at the fact that Cecilia is being heavily mistreated by Aiden, not to use another word, which begins with A, though this speculation really remains up in the air. It's not further analyzed. No one knows what happens between Aiden and Cece. I mean, I hope that's not the case, that what Rachel thinks is not the truth. Other than that, I feel that Cece's insights don't add much to the story itself. So I think this was a missed chance to add more to the plot. And finally, the tensions builds really slowly and it's concentrated in the last few chapters. But even that, I must admit I wasn't constantly kept on the edge of my seat. Me wanting to finish this book wasn't because I wanted to find out how the story ends, but rather because I wanted to finish it and start to read another novel, actually. I think the end was kind of predictable. I don't know, I'd have appreciated more plot twists. Another flaw of this book is the writing style. So I think it's not my cup of tea, I guess. But let me spend some words on this topic, because these book talk sensations tend to have an overly dramatic writing style. I mean, not every book talk sensation does, but many of them do. And The Quiet Tenant often falls into this trap. In some scenes, I found it corny, and the style wasn't adequate for a psychological thriller. So I'd have appreciated a drier writing style, but I guess that's me. The first thing I want to talk about is stupid sentences. There are many in this novel, but some of them got stuck in my brain. What I mean is that they're cheesy, they're corny, they don't really... I mean, if you read them, you would think, who speaks like that? Cheesiness wouldn't normally bother me. The problem arises when these descriptions are meant to be taken seriously. So let me give you an example of that. From page 123, quote, "My fingers search and still can't find what they're looking for. He feels fumbling and comes to my rescue. Finally, I hear it, a door opening onto a new world." End quote. Okay, what's wrong with that? Actually nothing. Maybe it's a little bit dramatic, but people like drama, so it's okay. But buckle up, because this is how this utterance ends. Quote, "The click of his belt buckle opening, the thud of his jeans falling to the floor." End quote. Listen, this whole paragraph just to tell me you're unzipping his pants and reaching for his eggplant? Like, come on. You could have spared us. I mean, you don't always have to use a metaphor. Just no, please, just no. I mean, why? Why are we talking about a door opening onto a new world? Like, what is that about? I just thought it was cheesy at best. The second thing I didn't appreciate about the writing style is the use of repetitions. So the author often makes use of repetition to emphasize some concept. She does it quite often. There should be a middle ground. The example I'm bringing is 6 sentences, one after the other, beginning with "the truth is." So from page 271, quote, "The truth is, I hated my parents." No, wait, even that's not true. The truth is that no one has ever loved me unconditionally. No one ever paid attention to me before you did. And I thought I was fine alone in my corner, but I'm not. I'm really not. The truth is, I haven't been fine in a long time. The truth is, I want to take up room. I want to be at the center of a person's life, adored, celebrated. The truth is, I want someone to laugh at my jokes, especially the stupid ones. And I want someone who will see me and not run the other way. The truth is, I would follow you anywhere. End quote. I think by the third we were good. I mean, I think 3 were enough, so thank you. For me, The Quiet Tenant fails to keep its promise of being a thrilling ride. It was presented as a psychological thriller, but while the psychological traits were investigated, the thrilling part is completely lacking. It didn't keep me on the edge of my seat. It didn't make me eager to read another chapter. I was anticipating the outcome since the beginning, actually. I think it was a missed chance to write a good thriller. The ground is good, but some aspects should have been investigated and some other described better. So overall, I would give 2 stars out of 5. And that's my opinion on The Quiet Tenant. If you've read this book, what are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments. I will leave some reviews from Goodreads in the description of the video so that you can have a better picture of the novel. And that said, thank you so much for watching. Remember to be safe and take care of yourself. Ciao!